for us a vision of the beloved community, of creating just a bit of heaven on earth together. And let me share what he shared about that. That the beloved community was something that did not yet exist, but that all of us could march towards together, arm in arm. A socio-economic, just and peaceful and free reality that excluded no one, anywhere on the planet. We are living in a moment that I believe 50 years from now, our grandchildren will be asking, what were we doing when? Just as in the 1960s, when television cameras put a spotlight on the violent reaction that was happening with billy clubs, with hoses, with dogs, with violent words against the civil rights activists and against African Americans all over this country. Now, today, our cell phones are allowing us to witness repeated acts of violence, repeated acts of violent words, and we must pay attention, and people are paying attention. Some of the most disturbing things that I have witnessed through the lens of people's cell phones around the country are black men, women, and children being shot in the name of the law. It forces me to ask this question: are these just a string of incidents, or is this a pattern that must be named and broken? And for some, the question of criminal justice reform remains a question. For me, it does not. I believe we must be about criminal justice reform if we are about the business of dismantling racism. But let me give you another example. So this year, there have been many articles, as there are everywhere, about the best places to live. And I find it fascinating that Minneapolis is listed time and again as the #1 place to live right now in this country. Except at the same time, many articles are being published that it is the worst, the third worst place to live if you are African American. How can it be? How can it be that we would publish articles that name a place as the best place to live that totally disregards a segment of the community? We must create one whole America where every child, every adult, everyone counts. I want to share why I choose to use the language of Black Lives Matter this year. To me, that is the clarion call. As long as in the areas of housing, income inequality, education, criminal justice, reproductive rights, and so many other avenues, it doesn't reflect back to us that every life matters, and unfortunately, it reflects back to us a disparity between Black lives and other lives. We must say clearly, Black lives matter. That means that all of us are children of God, that each of us possesses the inherent worth and dignity, and that we will not be excluded from a love that embraces all life. I am deeply inspired by the images of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and so many people of different faiths and goodwill crossing bridges arm in arm towards justice. Today, the question we must ask ourselves is, how can we, all of us, work together to walk towards justice, to cross bridges arm in arm, and to actually create that beloved community that beckons that lures us, that invites us to lead lives of love and justice and wholeness as a multi-racial, multi-religious, and multi-generational people. For that is who we are called to be. So let us be about discussions this morning, but let us not have them end after this day. Let us devote our lives to the calling that Dr. King devoted his own life towards. All of us are called to take risks, to be about deeds of justice and wholeness. Our lives are worthy to devote to love. May it be so.
Amen.